Let me tell you about one of the most valuable services we offer landlords, and it will not cost you a penny. Angel Moves operates a free tenant placement service. We source, verify and place tenants into your property at no cost to you. And what comes with that placement is something that the traditional referencing route simply cannot match. But first, let me be straight about something. The traditional private renting market has changed. With no fixed periods, working tenants are using their deposit as last month's rent and moving on when they choose. You have no security, they can get up and go whenever they want. That is the reality of the market right now. Our tenants are different. These are families, these are people looking to make a home, not just rent a property. Many are working tenants who have found themselves in temporary and emergency accommodation through no fault of their own. In London, you need to be earning £70,000 to £100,000 a year just to afford most properties privately. Most people simply cannot do that because their income, the average income there is 40,000, right, 35 to 40,000. Right. Add the cost of moving out, right, deposits, advance rent, removal costs, you're looking at about £10,000 just to move. Most people don't have that sort of money, so they end up in temporary and emergency accommodation and they're desperate to get out. These are good people, decent people, and they're not going anywhere. Now, let me tell you what you can get as part of this service. Let me put a real financial value on it, because when you add it up, this is significant. First, there's no introduction fee. A standard letting agent charges around 2 weeks of the first month's rent as an introduction fee. On a London property at around £2,500 a month, that is approximately £1,200 savings that you made straight away. For high-value properties, that figure is considerably more. Second, a free Category 1 and Category 2 risk assessment on your property carried out by us, but worth up to £750. Third, rent guarantee legal protection cover insurance worth approximately £500. Right? Fourth, you get free support and guidance for the duration of the tenancy, no ongoing, no extra charge. Right? Obviously, these are subject to terms and conditions. So let's add all that up. No introduction fee saving you £1,250 or more. Free risk assessment worth over £750. Rent guarantee legal protection cover insurance worth approximately £500. Free ongoing support and guidance. A long-term tenant who stays and looks after your property, meaning that you don't have to keep going through the costly process of finding and verifying a new tenant every 12 months. When you look at the total value, you're looking at well over £2,400 right, worth of benefits, right, to you, right, spread that across 12 months, right, you're looking about approximately £200 a month, right, saving, right, there alone. Right. So that is what this service is worth, and it costs you nothing. Every tenant on our scheme is local authority verified. That means right to rent checks, background checks, antisocial behaviour checks, rent arrears checks, and a full affordability check, all verified by a government official, not a soft check from a referencing agency, a proper government verified check. On the rent, we work as close to the local housing allowance as possible. In many cases, we try to negotiate about £50 above the LHA rate as possible, depending on the deal. A portion of the rent will be directly covered by the DWP and the local authority. If there's a shortfall in some cases, we can negotiate that too. Now, let me tell you about the types of tenants that we place, and equally importantly, the types we do not. We do not take on your stereotypical problematic benefit tenants. We do not take on tenants who are intentionally not working. We do not take on tenants with rent arrears or history of late rent payments. We don't take on anyone where we cannot do a full government verified background checks. And we do not take on anyone without the right to rent. The tenants we do work with include working families relocated from London and other cities who cannot afford to stay, but whose jobs cannot relocate with them. Key support workers, training nurses, people in further education, carers, victims of domestic violence, separations, divorce, and in some cases, asylum seekers and refugees from war-torn countries like Ukraine, Afghanistan, and Palestine. People who want to work, people who want stability, people who look after your property because they are grateful for the opportunity and have no desire to go back to what they have left. These are long-term tenants. They stay, they look after your property, and with protections in place, you are covered. And here's one more thing. If you ever have a problematic situation with a tenant through our network, We can speak to them directly. We have relationships. We know how to handle it because nobody wants to go back into temporary emergency accommodation. And that gives us a level of influence that a standing letting agent simply does not have. And we also speak to the local authorities where they came from as well, where possible. So book your free 30-minute consultation below. Let us show you how this works and what it could mean for you, for your property, and peace of mind for you. Or at the very least, sign up for a free membership today. It costs you nothing and gives you access to ongoing support, enforcement intelligence in your area, and all the benefits that comes along with being part of our network. If you found this video helpful, please don't stop here. This short video only scratches the surface. I strongly recommend that you now watch our full presentation, which stands and sits alongside this video. And it's about landlords and letting agents, 50 things you need to know. How to protect yourself against £40,000 fines, 24-month rent repayment orders of up to £70,000 plus, disrepair claims, and the biggest compliance risk facing the private rental sector in your homes that you didn't know existed. Yes, it is longer than this video, but it could be the most valuable 20 minutes you will invest in protecting your properties, your business, and your income. This is not small change, right? So in my professional opinion, it is the biggest change to the private rental sector that I have seen in my lifetime. In that presentation, I'll explain where your biggest risks really are, why those risks are inside your properties, not outside them, why certificates alone do not prove a property safe, why Category 1 and Category 2 hazards matter, why an incident does not have to happen before enforcement of fines and action begin, why landlords and agents are both under greater scrutiny and being able to be fined, how tenants have been educated and coached by no-win, no-fee solicitors and claims organizations, and most importantly, what practical action you should take. So step 1, book your free 30-minute consultation. Don't wait to watch the video presentation before you book your free 30-minute consultation, as we are getting inundated with bookings and we are limiting the number of people per consultation. Landlords and agents consultation are separate, but landlords and agents are booked together in small limited groups, as most have the same questions, and you can email personal questions that will be answered simultaneously, which you didn't submit during the time of booking. By watching the presentation, I'm almost certain that you will have many questions which you didn't submit during the time of booking, so you can email them to us after. So I do recommend, right, that you do watch the video presentation, right, before the actual consultation, right, but don't wait to watching it, but before booking. Please don't leave booking until the last minute, as we don't want to disappoint you. Step number 2, become a free Angel Moves member. Membership is completely free and it gives you access to far more general legislative updates. Most organizations simply tell you what changed in the law, which is national. Yes, your head office, legal team, and AI can tell you that, but this is what we can do and what most others can't. We make it our business to know the enforcement policies your local authority are prioritizing and local policies which are not national news. All local authorities have a duty to enforce compliance laws and practices, but how aggressively they do it and which new policies the actual local authority brings in your area, your lawyer, head office, and AI can't tell you. We can bring this to you before it happens, as we keep our ears close to the ground and are informed by the local authority relationships we have built over the years, placing tenants from emergency temporary accommodation into private sector homes. So we had a vested interest to protect our existing landlords and agents in our network, which are part of our network, and we bring the same service to you. Our aim is to help you understand what those changes mean in practice. So through our work with local authorities, housing professionals, landlords, letting agents, and others across the private rental sector, we continue to build our understanding of how the sector is changing and where the practical risks are actually emerging. That means our members receive practical information designed to help them stay ahead of problems, not simply react after they occur. As a member, you'll receive updates, guidance, educational resources, invitations to webinars, practical compliance information, and news about services and support available through Angel Moves. As our relationships and work across the sector continue to grow, our aim is to bring members even more practical insight and support to help them navigate an increasingly complex private rental sector. Free membership is only the beginning. For landlords and agents who want a greater level of protection and support, our paid memberships start from just £15 per month. Depending on the membership level you choose, you can gain access to additional training, at very discounted services, special support, compliance resources, our bespoke systems, and a range of members-only benefits designed to help protect your properties, your business, and your income. Considering the potential financial consequences of enforcement, legal disputes, rent repayment orders, or disrepair claims, many landlords and agents see our membership as a small investment in protecting themselves against far larger risks. And plus, don't forget, these are tax-deductible expenses. So whether you choose our free membership or our paid membership options, our objective is the same: to help you identify risk early, understand your responsibilities more clearly, and put practical systems in place before small problems become expensive ones. So don't wait until you're facing an investigation or complaint or a legal claim. Join Angel Moves today and stay connected to the information, guidance, and support that could make a real difference to tomorrow. Step number 3, book your Category 1 and Category risk assessments. If you haven't done so already, I strongly recommend booking your Category 1 and Category 2 risk hazard assessment. Remember, your biggest risk is usually not outside your property, it is already inside it. The earlier hazards are identified, the easier and usually cheaper they are to deal with. Prevention is always better than trying to defend an enforcement investigation or a legal claim later. Step number 4, book your landlord or agent training. If you're serious about protecting yourself, your business, your property, book onto one of our landlord or letting agent training programs. Many landlords and agents are still reliant on knowledge that worked several years ago. Right, that sector has changed. Tenants are becoming better informed. Enforcement expectations are changing. The cost of getting it wrong can be significant. Our member prices are currently available and places are limited. If you prefer individual one-to-one training rather than group training, speak to us during your consultation and we'll discuss the options available to you. Finally, please take the time to explore the rest of our Angel Moves website. There are videos, guidance, and resources throughout the site that help design to help you understand the bigger picture. This isn't simply about passing a compliance checklist. It is about protecting your properties, your business, and your future. The people who act are usually the ones who have the most options. The people who wait until enforcement begins usually have the fewest. So don't delay. Watch the full 50 things you need to know. Watch the full 50 things you need to know presentation, book your free 30-minute consultation, become a free Angel Moves member. Book your Category 1, Category 2 risk hazard assessment, and if you haven't already, secure a place on landlord and letting agent training program while the current member prices are available at dirty cheap prices. We look forward to speaking to you soon. The risk isn't always a new law, often it's the existing law nobody ever properly checked inside your own properties.